Good afternoon everyone, back down in the assembly area now because the Milltek Sports Civic Cup's first race of the day is about to get underway, and we've got Alistair Camp back on the pole position again, the number one car starting from the front of the grid, but alongside him is our most recent race winner, Rob Butler, then starting second on the grid. I'm going to really annoy Rob and try and have a very quick chat to him because Rob, I kept our promise. I didn't talk about you once during that race at Castlecombe, and it paid off.
Yeah, absolutely, no commentator's curse, Sandy. I see Adam got his win today to make up for it. So, yeah, look, it's been good. It's nice to be on the front row. So we're looking forward to this one. See what we can do into turn one.
Right, engines firing. I'll let you go. Best of luck, Rob. Then this is it. Then the first race already about to get underway. I've got to get over to the commentary box. I'll be up there in a couple of minutes' time.
For voice and data solutions at speeds that are simply out of this world, choose Maximum Networks.
Well, here we go then. Round number 11 of the Milltek Sports Civic Cup is only a couple of minutes away because the cars are heading out now on their green flag lap ahead of 15 minutes of racing, which is set to be a very exciting 15 minutes of racing, I would imagine. Chatting to a couple of the drivers just now before they went out on this green flag lap, and they were revved up, ready to go, and a few of them feeling pretty confident that they can make some progress on the grid, which lines up as follows with Alistair Camp on pole position, Rob Butler, winner of our second race at Castlecombe last time out, starting second, Morgan Bailey and Will Redford, new team for Will here this weekend, the Pro Alloys Racing Run car. Will start from fourth ahead of Dan Thackeray, championship front runner. Matt Luff, likewise, second in the points, only sixth on the grid. Jack Harding seventh with Harvey Caton, the youngster, alongside him. Ross Darlington just inside the top 10, ahead of Will Claudio with a really impressive 10th place starting spot. Matthew Cripps, despite two offs, had the old haircut to start 11th alongside Owen Hillman. Then it's Paul McHugh, who starts 13th alongside Jeff Alden on row 7. Jordan Brennan, back after his scary Alton Park accident, will start next. And then we miss a row before we find the production front runners with Alfie Jenkins and Louis Hounsell on the front row, the two championship front runners together on the front of the production class grid ahead of Mark Hughes and Simon Welch. Right then, I'm realising very quickly today that I am not fit enough for this jogging around Donington Park. The drivers hopefully are fit enough for 15 minutes of racing, because it's going to be a pretty testing race this for the drivers as they weave their way around towards the grid. And Alistair Camp on pole position, but Paul, I was chatting to Matt Luff there in the assembly area. He's really confident. He says his race pace is a lot better than his qualified pace. He thinks he can at least make a podium here.
Well, I think all those little things may change because it's defo going to rain in this one. Yeah.
I've heard that before, Paul.
Well, my app is pretty good, and to be fair, it was drizzling.
You were a lap late, that's all it was.
That's what she said. Yeah, no, hey, listen, I think it's going to be... It's windy, mate, and the wind's changed direction, actually, so we might get away with this, but Matt Luff is definitely somebody that, if he says things like that, he ain't a blagger, so I think he may be onto something here and pretty sound.
I walked up to Matt expecting him to be down in the dumps. I said, how are you doing? He said, yeah, really good, really positive. I've absolutely got the pace, so we'll see whether the youngster is able to live up to that, because the green flag then is waved at the back of the grid. 15 minutes on the clock, and it is the 11th round of the Milltek Sports Civic Cup Championship. Alistair Camp on the left, the silver car is Rob Butler alongside him. The red lights go on. They will go out now. We're away and racing here at Donington Park, and it is a good start made by Morgan Bailey. Terrible start, though, I'm afraid, for Will Redford in his new car. And in fact, two of the Pro Alloys cars don't get moving, because I think that is Owen Hillman further back, who also is stalled. And it's Camp who leads. Bailey there in second place, down to third already for Rob Butler. And Owen Hillman going nowhere. Alistair Camp wide through Redgate corner. And here comes Bailey up the inside. Jeff Holden involved in some contact further back, but it's side by side for the lead. And it's Morgan Bailey through from third on the grid to the lead through the Craner curves. One or two getting sideways on cold tyres. Here comes Luff up the inside of Rob Butler for fourth place. Matt Luff already picking up 2 places through the first few corners. That, Paul, is a turn up for the books, with Alistair Camp losing the lead and Bailey coming from the second row to lead them towards McLean's.
Wow, you don't see that so often, do you? But Morgan Bailey, not that long ago, was underneath that car, changing a gearbox, subframe was out, engine was out. I was talking to his mum, and it's really good to see him out there. But safety car apparently has been deployed, Andy, so yeah, it's all happening.
Not sure if this is a car off the road or just a bit of car that's on the road, because the rear of Will de Claudio's car, the rear bumper, was stricken in the middle of the road. But no, it is Owen Hillman who is stationary on the start-finish straight, which now that the camera's panned to it, I can tell you is clearly the reason for the safety car. So there we go, Owen Hillman then stationary on the grid after his stall, and it's rare that they can't push the car straight out of the way. It is a short lap here, of course, which will certainly have not helped matters, but that was not an ideal start to the race. All 3 of the Pro Alloys racing cars were involved in drama there, because Redford had a terrible start. Obviously, Owen Hillman went nowhere at all. Will de Claudio, having got off the line well, was then involved in contact with Jeff Holden at Redgate corner, so he's lost his rear bumper now. It is Bailey who leads, Camp is second, third Thackeray, and Matt Luff, who said the first few laps would be a struggle, but well, he's actually gained 2 places already. Rob Butler's the one who went backwards there, along with Redford, of course, but Butler in 5th place, Harding 6th, Caton 7th, de Claudio is 8th, Matthew Cripps 9th, and Redford down to 10th. And in production, it's that man again, Alfie Jenkins, who's got the class lead in the early stages.
And have you mentioned Jordan Brennan isn't in this one?
I had not.
Yes, so he has had a mechanical failure going up to the grid, apparently. So thank you for that information, TCR UK and Civic Cup team. That was Leanne sorted that for us. So yeah, car 98, mechanical problem, so non-starter. Such a shame. Yeah. But the Manitou's done some work, hasn't it, today? He's flat out again, porpoising up the wrong way of the start line. And yeah, where's this rain anyway?
Well, you tell me. You're the one with the magic weather app that's never, ever, ever wrong, Paul.
I paid £2.99 for that. Grow up, mate.
You paid for it. Wow, well, it must be accurate then. Looking out of the window, this is my highly sophisticated weather forecasting technique. It doesn't look as bad now as it did halfway through the TCR race. I think we're fine, but
all right,
Paul O'Neill, being a proper northerner, not just a posh one like me, is maybe a bit more accustomed to telling when the rain is going to get here.
Yeah, definitely. Saying it's drizzling now, so it obviously isn't, because there's no windscreen wipers on the car.
Money well spent, this, Paul, I think.
I'm actually getting people on the pit wall saying no, it's definitely not raining. It's actually Harvey Caton's dad is telling me that it's definitely not raining. So, but it is going to definitely rain, I think. And yeah, good luck to everyone driving.
Right. So the people stood out on the pit wall telling you it's not raining are wrong. That's what we've learned from that. And we, in our nice, warm, dry commentary box, know better. At least Paul claims to. Morgan Bailey then working his way through the chicane there. I mean, in fairness, the clouds are dark and ominous and looming overhead, but they have been for most of the day. Really, it is one of those typical August bank holidays, isn't it, where the weather just can't make its mind wind-up.
That's a great shot, that, isn't it, on top of the hill? That must be over at near McLean's that we're seeing on the TV screens. But yeah, it is. This place does get stalked by dark clouds, and sometimes they drop, sometimes they don't. And like you said before, you can get isolated showers up at Coppice Corner, and that can be the worst place in the world. And we always talk, don't we, about the East Midlands Airport that drops, you know, lots of fuel and rubbish out of the planes onto that top corner. That's usually by people who've gone off there and they're trying to blame aeroplanes that have got nothing to do with it.
Racing drivers having an excuse for going off, Paul. That's a new one on me. I've never heard of that before. Owen Hillman's car now is being dragged into the pit lane, so that car well out of the way, or will be by the time we get back round. So we should go racing this time. Morgan Bailey, what a start from Morgan Bailey. His reaction time was great, controlled the wheel spin, and then just seemed to have superior grip on cold tyres compared to Alistair Camp.
Controlled aggression from Morgan sometimes, and I've got to say he does come across as a real feisty character in these cars, and he's somebody that always catches my attention. But I've got to say he's always been fair, and he drives hard, so fair play to him.
It is one of those juxtapositions that you get sometimes in motorsport, a driver who, when you speak to him out of the car, you wouldn't necessarily put that personality with the style of driving you see from on the track. He is so quiet, so well-spoken, really, really friendly, and on the track, though, he is out there just for himself. Not dirty, not saying that at all, just really, really committed, really exciting to watch is Morgan, and we're about to see how good he is at safety car restarts, because the lights are now out, and the BMW safety car pulling down the exhibition straight, leaving Morgan Bailey now to pace the field, and Alistair Camp in second place to try and second guess what the leader is going to do. You do sort of get the feeling with only 9.5 minutes to go now, Paul, that if Camp is going to win this race, he kind of has to do something immediately off the restart, otherwise there is a risk that he ends up stuck battling with Thackeray, Luff and Butler behind.
Is he? Oh, he's gone. Already started. He's absolutely dropped him. Look at that. Camp has got nothing in return, and Bailey's away.
Yeah, he is, through the chicane then. A good 3 or 4 car lengths then between Morgan Bailey, the leader, and Alistair Camp in second as they come off the final turn then, across the start-finish line, and onto another lap of racing then. That is 3 laps completed. Onto lap 4, and Bailey leads them into Redgate Corner. Camp in second, Thackeray third, Luff in fourth. Alistair Camp with a much earlier turning point there at Redgate Corner. Meanwhile, Will Redford's charge back through the field begins with a nicely executed move up the inside of Matthew Cripps, and then gets waved through, in fairness, by his teammate Will de Claudio there. So that's 2 places gained already for Redford as the leaders barrel down the crane of curves into the old hairpin, and Camp is coming, isn't he? He's closing right in on Bailey, and this time around it's Camp who seems to be a bit more confident.
Yeah, it does seem that way, doesn't it? And that gap's definitely closed up, but the top 3 are so close, and I've got to say, Camp got an excellent exit out of old hairpin, and he's right with Morgan Bailey, and Morgan now is feeling the pressure. Still gets to the apex though at McLean's as Rob Butler wants to join in on this lead battle, so all good stuff, but Camp's coming.
Indeed he is, but so too is his big championship rival Matt Luff. Coming into this race, there were only 9 points between them in Camp's favour. Luff needs to try and get himself ahead of that number 1 car, but first he's got to try and get past Dan Thackeray, who is in 3rd position, and actually asking all the right questions of Camp as they come into the chicane. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them together, all the way back to Harvey Kane, with Will Redford coming as well. We could have 8 for the lead here as we head into the second half of the race.
I was just about to say 8 for the lead, but look how close the top 7 are. That's amazing. Harvey Caton just bringing up the rear, and he's actually getting involved here. So look at this, that's a big move. That Butler down the inside of Luff. Luff didn't expect that, and everyone else trying to capitalise. Jack Harding's there, Caton's there, they're all getting involved.
Matt Luff not going to like that. He stands his ground on the outside. The 2 predominantly silver cars then wheel to wheel. On the left as we watch it is Rob Butler. On the right over the curb though is Matt Luff. Can he brake late enough into the old hairpin? Yes he can. Fends off Butler, but he's a bit too late, misses the apex, bounces wide over the curb. This is really stacking them up, and here comes Jack Harding on the inside of both of them. Harding right over the grass, 2 places gained in 1, and this is a disaster for Matt Luff because Harvey Caton comes through as well, and both Matt Luff and Rob Butler losing ground from all of that. Harding gets past both of them, and Caton squeezes in between the 2 with Luff right to the back of that group.
That's absolutely brilliant driving, some opportunistic moves there. Caton does the right thing, just tries to get the switch back onto Luff, and he's down the inside of him again. Fantastic driving. He thought about that one, and Luff is going to be mugged.
Yes, he is, and now, of course, Redford getting closer and closer to them as well. Down the straight they go. Inside for Caton, outside for Matt Luff, but Luff is much later on the brakes into the chicane. A bit too late, maybe. Snatches the rear brake, but gets into the corner just about, and Matt Luff needs to try and regroup now. This is the part of the race where he felt that he would come on strong, but now he's got more work to do than ever. Matthew Cripps, I'm afraid, is off after a couple of offs in qualifying. That looks like a mechanical issue as Alistair Camp. up the inside of Morgan Bailey. What a move that is for the lead.
Oh, what a move. That was fantastic. Look at Dan Thackeray in the 29. He wants a bit of this. Side by side, down the crane of curves. Who's going to be the bigger man? Morgan Bailey in the red car. Look at this. This is proper stuff. Camp hangs it around the outside. Job done. Oh, big off. Straight in the gravel trap. Both cars out. And then for the lead, it's Thackeray.
Alistair Camp out of the race. Morgan Bailey trying desperately to get out of the gravel trap, and that gives Thackeray the race lead. That's a disaster for the championship leader, who, remember, had already had a couple of off results at Cadwell, which he was using as his drop scores earlier in the season. That has major championship implications. A non-score for Alistair Camp, and suddenly Matt Luff and Dan Thackeray and Rob Butler even set to gain some good points on him. Through Coppice they go. There is Luff, who did fend off Harvey Caton while that was all going on. Thackeray leads, then Jack Harding in second place. Jack, I don't think, has had a podium yet, has he, in Civic Cup? This could be a really amazing result for the ex-MX5 race winner, but he's got Rob Butler all over him as they head towards the chicane.
Yeah, and the order has been massively shuffled, and Bailey just about got out the gravel track, but he's far behind where he was, and yeah, couldn't really see what happened. It may have been the fact that they were just trying to sort out the oversteer as they come down to the old hairpin. As now Caton down the inside of Luff. Oh, is he going to get it done? Just about gets his nose in. Go on, son, keep your foot in. Oh, this is going to be side by side down the craners now, and look at that. Luff has had to open the door. Caton down the inside. Side by side still. Redford wants to get involved. Side by side still. Caton on the outside. Luff takes to the curb. Caton keeps his foot in. Can he get it done? Yes, he can. Brilliant move, but bounces and runs wide onto the grass. Comes back on. Dust everywhere, and Redford takes them both around the outside. Caton keeps the position in front of Luff. Wow!
Fantastic racing. Will Redford pass both of them, and Matt Luff just can't catch a break in this race. Every time it seems like his look is changing, someone else dives up the inside of him at Redgate Corner, and he seems to end up losing position. So that's Redford remarkably now, having had so much wheel spin at the start that he dropped out of the top 10, suddenly finding himself back into fourth place. Here's the replay of the contact between Camp and Bailey. Paul, talk us through it.
Oh, it just looked like that they both come together. Luff tried to keep his car straight, but Bailey was trying to stop the bouncing as well. It looked from that angle like a racing incident. Two cars bouncing to the same piece of tarmac. Such a shame that it wasn't side to side. It was across the front of one another.
Well then, Donington delivers the drama again in the Milltek Sports Civic Cup. It's always good racing around here, but that was a bit more drama than even I was expecting halfway through the first race. 3.5 minutes to go then. Thackeray leads by 1.4 seconds. On the previous lap, Jack Harding was a tenth slower than him. There is somebody in the gravel, and it's Redford. Will Redford is off at Redgate Corner from fourth position. All that hard work undone.
Wow, that was on his own as well. There wasn't anybody really close to him, but Butler now is starting to put the pressure on, and yeah, this is getting real tasty. Harding is going to have to watch his rear, I think.
Yes, he will. Jack Harding, by the way, has had podiums so far this season. He's had a couple, actually, still searching for his first race victory, but right now it's all about defending his second place to Rob Butler, who is really riding a wave of good form at the moment, is Rob Butler. Got that win at Castle Combe last time out. It was actually the first time all season that he'd finished both races in the same weekend, and he's looking to try and do more of that again here. Right, dare we drag our eyes off that battle for half a lap or so to check in on the production lead as well. It's Alfie Jenkins who leads, but of course Louis Hounsell isn't far behind him. In fact, they're together. They're the next two cars behind Paul McHugh and Ross Darlington, who are scrapping away for 11th position. But there in the background, look, Alfie Jenkins just ahead of Hounsell. Again, only a car length between them, as has been the case all season.
And look at this, that's the first time that I've seen windscreen wipers on cars. There is rain down there, it's drizzling, so everyone on the pit lane can shut up, and Butler's down the inside of Jack Harding. That's a great move, job done, but it's not over because he's got the overlap. It's going to be another side by side down the craners. Good luck with this one, Andy, that's your go.
Oh, windscreen wipers on the track getting slippery, and Jack Harding fighting straight back. Butler holds the inside line. Harding sideways on the dirty side of the road, keeps his foot in it, has the inside line for the old hairpin, but Rob Butler is still there. He's surely going onto the grass. No, amazing racing room left there by Jack Harding. He could so easily have squeezed Butler off the road. He left him space and gets the place anyway. That was top-notch racing.
Absolutely, and Rob Butler thought he was good. Jack was going to drive him onto the grass, so he drove onto the grass himself. But absolutely beautiful stuff there for the two boys. They judged that perfectly, and there was no drama at all. And Butler will be seething that he's let that place go.
Terrible news is we've only got a minute and a half of this to go. This has been an extraordinary race, and there may well still be another twist to come in this one, because Harding and Butler are nose to tail. We've got this weather starting to blow in from over the East Midlands Airport direction of the circuit, and this battle certainly is going to run right to the flag, because we're actually going to get no, this will be the final lap. They're lapping in the 1:18. There was about 1 minute 15, I think, left on the clock when Dan Thackeray went through across the start-finish line. Dan, don't forget, was 4th in the championship arriving at Donington. With Camp out of the race, Thackeray is set to get right back into this championship fight, especially with Luff struggling all the way down in 5th place at the moment, unable to catch back up to Harvey Caton.
Yeah, it's settled down a bit now, isn't it? My throat's sore, actually, from all that side-by-side action down the crane of curves. As again, you can just see Harding was just running a touch wide down the crane. It's a bit too much curve there, but I'll tell you what, the boy makes it work, and Butler really hasn't got an answer. But as I say that, he's closing up now as he goes up to McLean's, and this is still game on. Butler will not want to give this position up.
No, absolutely not. Rob Butler wants to keep this good momentum going. He likes Donington Park. It's a circuit he tests at quite a lot, and he will want to try and get one step further up the podium if he can. But Dan Thackeray is nowhere to be seen. He is 2.5 seconds up the road from that battle as they come out of Coppice for the final time and charge down towards the chicane. Dan Thackeray, who earlier on in the season was close to a couple of race wins, had won at the first round of the championship at Cadwell Park, but since then hasn't been able to make it back onto the top step. He's coming out of the final chicane now, though, and is about to do just that. A bit of an opportunistic win, yes, but he was in the right place at the right time, and he wins the first race of the day here at Donington Park. Second place, a hard-fought second place for Jack Harding, with Rob Butler in 3rd, Harvey Caton in 4th, and 5th Matt Luff. Now the battling is continuing. This is Ross Darlington versus Paul McHugh as they continue their little scrap, but a few cars behind them are our production race leaders, Alfie Jenkins and Louis Hounsell. McHugh back, oh sorry, that's Jeff Holden, excuse me, up the inside of Darlington, goes straight across the gravel, bounces back on the road. He gets the place, but was nowhere near the racetrack as he did it, and he'll give that place back, I think, to Darlington across the line. What's going on in production? It looks like Alfie Jenkins, who is flashing his headlights across the line, is going to get the victory from Louis Hounsell in 2nd place. The two of them were close together all race long, but as far as we saw, there was no change of the position, and so in 13th place overall, Alfie Jenkins is the production class race winner. And we can breathe for the first time in about 15 minutes or so. I was out of breath when the race started after the jog up to the commentary box, and my condition has not improved as the 15 minutes have gone on. That was fabulous racing, though. Dan Thackeray picks up a 2nd victory of the season, the number 29 car back to the top step of the podium. So Thackeray then getting himself back to the winner's circle, and Paul O'Neill already heading down to the Parc Ferme area to have a chat to him. Who got fastest lap in that race? It did go to Harvey Caton in the end. That's got to be Harvey's best result so far, with a 4th place finish in that race. So a really, really strong effort that from Harvey, getting past and then fending off Matt Luff in the closing stages. So confirmation then of the provisional results, at least, for round number 11 of the Milltek Sports Civic Cup. It's number 29, Dan Thackeray, who gets the victory by 2 seconds in the end over Jack Harding and Rob Butler, who joined him on the podium. Harvey Caton will finish in 4th place ahead of Matt Luff. A race that could have been that for Matt. Just 1 or 2 things didn't quite go his way, and he ends up at the back of the top 5 ahead of Morgan Bailey, who tangled with Alistair Camp whilst fighting for the race lead. Will Redford was 7th after a slow start and an off at Redgate. Alistair Camp, by the way, did actually get going, so I thought Camp was out of the race, but he did get going again and finished 8th ahead of Wilder Claudio and Jeff Oldham. That will therefore become one of Alistair Camp's dropped scores. They dropped their 3 worst scores, I seem to recall. Yeah, 3 worst scores over the course of the year. Ross Darlington and Paul McHugh were 11th and 12th respectively, with Alfie Jenkins in 13th place claiming the production class victory, but only just by less than half a second over Louis Hounsell in 2nd. 3rd place went to Hughes, and 4th place to Welch, with Matthew Cripps and Owen Hillman both non-finishers. So 25 points then will go the way of Dan Thackeray, and that is going to serve him very well indeed for the championship, because that's exactly the race we needed really to spice the championship up a little bit, because it was looking like Alistair Camp was starting to assert his authority at the front of the championship table, and it goes to show that in motorsport, and certainly in the Civic Cup, things can change extremely quickly. 25 points for Thackeray, 22 points will go to Jack Harding in 2nd, who of course has used up a couple of his drop scores by missing Castle Combe. 20 points then for Rob Butler. Have to excuse me totting up the point spreadsheet as we wait for Paul O'Neill to chat to our podium finishers. 18 go to Harvey Caton. And let me just double check, but I think that is his best result of the season. Yes, it is. It beats a couple of 5th place finishes he had earlier on in the year, so he'll be ecstatic with that. As there is a hug from, I think that's Rob Butler, to Dan Thackeray in the Parc Fermé area. Right, Matt Luff, 16 points for him. The other two we really need to look out for are Morgan Bailey, who finishes in 6th place, 14 for him, and Alistair Camp in 8th gets 11, so it will become a dropped score for him, and I reckon that puts him now 7 points clear of Matt Luff in the championship as we head to race 2 later on. But again, we'll get that fully totted up before the cars get onto the grid for that second race later on this afternoon. So, a victory for Dan Thackeray, who's going to have quite a lot to talk about after that. Down there to talk to him about it all is Paul O'Neill.
Cheers, Andrew. Wow, got a sore throat. Dan, the man, Thackeray. Yeah, boy. Well done, mate.
Very happy, very happy.
Cool. So cool. What a race.
Yeah, it was a busy first lap, well, busy first couple of corners, first couple of laps even, sorry. I was a bit unsure with qualifying. I haven't raced it for 16 years and I had no testing, so I went in cold. So to be only a 10th off par, I was like, okay, felt like there was more to come. And I was sticking with Morgan and Ali pretty well, and then I think they came together and got into the old hairpin. 2 into 1 is a bit tight there. I just managed to take advantage and then just sort of had a lead and keep it on the straight and narrow.
Looked like your car, even though you were cracking on and you had a bit of a gap, looked a bit leery, mate. Were you just trying to get away? Like, especially into Coppice, the rear was locking up, you were firing her in.
Well, essentially, I've only done those qualifying laps, so to try and perfect a setup with that little time is quite hard, as you know. So it was an interesting ride a few times and had a few hairy moments I'd really rather not while you're in the lead. It's the ultimate sin, isn't it, to throw it off in the lead? But once I had a second and a half, I think I was like, come on, just keep it on the straight and narrow and we'll be good.
Top man. Well, you did ever so well, so spot on. Well done to you. Well done, Danny boy. Right, OK, let us speak to Jackie Harding. Jack, well done, mate. It's good to be back on the podium. It's quite eventful, actually. Rob gave you a hard time, didn't he?
Yeah, he's mega fast through the last chicane and got me every time down to turn 1. I think we're just pushing the front a little bit too much. I think I just overdrove a little bit. We had a problem with gearbox in qualifying. I was wary of that and just overthinking really. But no, you know, I'm happy with that. Come from P7 to P2, missed Coombe. So yeah, like I said, we're a bit disappointed with qualifying, but yeah, it's good to be back in the race.
Push on, race 2.
Yeah, I think we've got the race pace. Like I said, we caught Thackeray a couple of times, but then I'd mess up the chicane. Like I said, Rob would be on me and then just delay us. But I think we've got the pace. You know, I think we can make a few changes and got the pace to win. So yeah,
wicked, good work, well done, mate. Right, Bobby Butler, how are you, mate?
All right, and you?
All right.
You on TV yesterday.
Hello, mate. I tell you what. You were very nice to each, a bit too nice for my liking. I want to see some big barging. I'm joking.
I'm too old for it now, Paul. I've got a business to run and a family to go home to. 5 years ago, we would have been upside down at the end of Cranes, but look, it's the first race of the day. Nobody wants to go home with damage. Yeah, no matter what I did, he just drives straight back past me. I was thinking the last overtake I'd done into turn 1, I stopped the car. He pushed me off the corner and still got back alongside me. So, you know, what can I do without putting us both at risk of DNF and look, a podium. This place hasn't been very good to me in the past, so we'll take the trophy, start from 7 or 8 in race 2 and carve our way through. We won't be so nice in that one for you, Paul.
Well, it was good, and it just made me laugh because you took to the grass because I think you thought Jack was going to run wide and push you off at the old hairpin. Yeah. So it just made me laugh. I was like, what are they doing?
I know. Well, I was a little bit hot in, and I seen him, he was stopping it on the apex, so I tried to come off the brake and roll around the outside, but at that stage of the race, the tyres are so hot. Look, I don't want to give Rob Baker his car back at Area Motorsport with a load of marks on the side of it. There's already enough on it for now. So yeah, look, it was fair racing, fair play to him. It was a great race. I don't know what happened on front, but to be honest, we should have been a little bit further forward. But I missed third gear off the start, so happy to recover to the podium after that. It was amateur error.
It had to be third gear, didn't it?
Yeah, of course it did.
Well done, mate. No worries. Right, here's me faves. Now then, Louis, what's going on, mate? You okay? What are you doing? You've not got an overheating issue, have you?
Scratching it, so we put the bonnet up, so I did.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought you were having some kind of problem there. That's classified information under that bonnet. We don't want to be doing that. How was the race for you, mate?
It was very fun, actually. There was lots of carnage ahead. Luckily, I stayed out of most of it. First lap, ran over Will's bumper. coming out of turn 1. Then a couple cup cars went off, got loads of stone chips and windscreen. Yeah, just kept it on the track, got past Alfie for a bit. Then the 2 FN2s in front sort of had a scoreboard at the chicane. I had to lock up and Alfie came past and then tried making a move, but I couldn't get close enough. But I'm happy with P2. So.
Nothing wrong with that, fella. There's nothing wrong with that. You two boys seem to get on very well. You're either drafting or just like following each other around, but you have a proper go though.
Yeah, we just work together to get the maximum out of the weekend, and if there's a move on, I'll go for it. But if I can't get close enough, I'm not going to risk it. It's my teammate. I don't want to hit my teammate.
I like it. There's not many people who've said that. My teammate used to find me all the time, but then again, I am a bit of an idiot. Right, speaking of which, here he is. Thank you for that, Louis. Alf, how are you, mate? You happy with that?
Yeah, chuffed with that. It was a bit entertaining towards well, throughout all the race, to be fair. There's quite a lot of dust from the cup cars getting kicked up. But yeah, just managed to keep it on the black stuff mostly, apart from one time where I went a little bit off. But yeah, I dropped back behind Louis then and managed to get past him on the same lap, because I think a couple of the cup cars like got a bit sideways in the chicane and it held Louis up, and I managed to get back past him on the same lap. And then just got my head down from there, really, tried to build a gap, but it was just sticking on my bumper all the way through. So yeah, chuffed with that.
That'll do, innit? Production class win. Same again for the next one?
Hopefully, yeah. We'll see how it goes.
We'll give it a go. Well done, fella. Sparky, how are you, boss?
Good, mate, you?
I'm all right, actually, yeah.
Again.
I know. Like, you've gone from, like, never appearing, like you are, like, literally, we can't get off the podium.
I know, I'm not used to this. This is strange. But yeah, I'm getting there. This car is on song for this track. Gearing's a little bit different. I'm struggling going down Craners, whether to keep it in 4th, hit the limiter and then into 5th. That's the difference between the EP3, but man, this car, I'm so close. I think next race I give him a good chance.
Hey, I love it. Well, we'll look forward to seeing it. Mark Hughes, well done, and back to you, Andy.
Epic race that from the Milltek Sports Civic Cup. Just been totting up the points here on my spreadsheet, and subject to official confirmation, by which I mean I'll get someone who can actually count to work it out. I reckon Alistair Camp's 7 points now ahead of Matt Luff, first and second in the championship. It's then a further 14 back by my maths to Dan Thackeray, third after that win, who moves ahead of Morgan Bailey by 4 points. And that's how it looks, with now a 20-point lead between Alfie Jenkins and Louis Hounsell in the production category. That is only half of today's racing done here at Donington Park. We've got 2 more races to bring you live from the Donington Park National Circuit. TCR UK, boys and girls, will be back out at, well, we'll have the build-up from 10 past 4 this afternoon for a race that's due to start at 4:30 before the Milltek Sports Civic Cup have their final race of the weekend at 10 to 6. Both of those races, of course, with reverse grids. So I thought the first part of our day of racing was lively here at Donington. You ain't seen nothing yet. So lots more to look forward to here at Donington Park. We will have all of that action coming up throughout the rest of the afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you again later on.